Everybody, it's Chelli Pumphrey with Trilogy Holistic Mental Health, and today we are talking to Claudia Nanino, who is one of our newest members here at Trilogy, and she's going to be bringing us breath work. And if you don't know what breath work is, you are in for a treat, and it's something that we can talk about today, but it's something that you really have to experience before you really quite can wrap your brain around what it is, because it's not just simple breathing, like take some deep breaths to calm yourself down. It's an incredible, powerful, life-changing experience. And I say that not to exaggerate or to sell you on something. I say it because I know that I walked into my first breathwork class many years ago and had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I walked out very much transformed, and I have continued doing breath work from that day. So I was very excited to bring breath work to Trilogy as a way to offer a deeper way to integrate a lot of the trauma work and the healing that people are doing. And it's just, in general, a really great practice for spiritual exploration, psychological, emotional, and even physical healing. And especially at a time like this, where we're all in a really incredibly stressful period, it's a really nice way to get a perspective on things and relax. So I want to introduce Claudia here. Claudia, welcome. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be part of the team, and I share your story in terms of coming to breathwork, not really knowing what to expect. Even in the introduction of the class, still not really grasping all that was about to unfold for me. And then walking out of that first session with just like my heart blown open, my mind blown open, and just knowing that I wanted to do more of it, wanted to really incorporate it into my own personal practice, and then also start an apprenticeship so I could start sharing it with people. And yeah, everything you touched on is just so spot on. Like it's such a beautiful complement to therapy and the work that people are doing with you and with your therapists. It really helps. I feel like therapy is so important, and I'm personally a big fan of therapy, but that tends to be a little bit more like in your brain, more logical, understanding, learning, processing, while breathwork helps bring all of that learning into your physical body, into your heart space, allowing you to kind of embody and, like you said, integrate all of that information, all of those lessons. And at the same time, allowing you to process and release emotions, energies, these experiences that we've all had that tend to live in our body and live in the tissues. And so breathwork is a really powerful way of moving that energy through and being free of it.
Awesome. Why don't we tell a little bit about just what breathwork is, and a little bit about what like a class would actually look like for people who haven't done breathwork?
Yeah, so breathwork is a generic term whenever you are being intentional with your breath. Even if you're taking, 5 to 6 deep, slow breaths just to calm yourself, that's considered breathwork. There are more ancient practices like pranayama, which is part of yoga, elements of qigong, and then there are things like what I offer. I offer conscious breathwork, which is kind of in the same realm as holotropic breathwork or shamanic or rebirthing. And I like to refer to it as journey work using your breath. So you're breathing in a certain way. When we do either a group or a one-on-one session, I traditionally have people lying down. We make them comfortable, blankets, mats, pillows, and then breathing in a certain way, what's known as a connected breath, in a certain pattern with a certain tempo. I'm using my presence and my voice to guide, to direct, and allow people to really kind of engage the breath and signal to the body like, okay, we're going to go on a deep journey within, ready to do some deep healing, some deep release. And then there's a lot of things that can start to occur by breathing in that way and like kick-starting that healing, and a lot of different sensations, a lot of emotions. Sometimes people get really hot, sometimes they get really cold. Like it's really wild, the variety of experiences and feelings that'll come up from breathwork, but it's all energy moving. It's all old emotions being released and processed and worked through. And everybody always comes out feeling awesome. And as you mentioned, there are benefits physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And everybody's guaranteed those physical benefits. Like you will have an improvement to your blood pressure, You will have an effect on the alkalinity of your blood related to your stress levels and your stress hormones. They're tying it to how we regulate emotions in our brain. They're tying it to how we form memories. So everybody will walk out feeling those physical benefits, getting that physical healing at a cellular level. And then it's like the possibilities are endless in what you can receive in addition to that. For me, it's always been incredibly helpful on the emotional side and on the spiritual side as well.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And I will, I know for me, every session has been very different. I might want to go in and hope that I had a replica of another session that I loved before and never returned.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a lot of physical processing. Sometimes it's more emotional. And I've had some, what I would call amazing spiritual experiences, just different visions and, like I just can't even put words to some of the things I've felt and seen. One of the things that I really want to touch on is how this can be kind of a complement to people who are doing therapy right now, and especially people. I don't want to necessarily say especially trauma, because we've all had some form of trauma, little t trauma all the way to big T trauma, but just in general, dealing with things that, difficult memories from our past, or the fear that we're living in right now with COVID. So tell me a little bit more about how breath work can work in conjunction with therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, therapy is so important to be able to look at our past experiences, past behaviors, past actions that we've taken, memories, and kind of start to work through those and process it. Breathwork is beautiful because it takes like what you learn in that time with your therapist and allows you to really embody it and feel it and own it and like believe in it and become it. And also breathwork is interesting because there might be some things that you're not even remembering when you're in your session with your therapist. There might be a random conversation you had with a grandparent as a child that you haven't thought of since it occurred, and that'll be triggered in breathwork. Like there'll be a memory or some kind of signal that brings that to the surface, and you realize, oh wow, like that was such a beautiful moment and had an impact on me I wasn't even aware of. And maybe is not related to what I'm talking to in therapy, but it just kind of gives me a shift in perspective. It gives me a shift in my energy and my emotion. And then I can approach these other things that I'm really working on with like a whole new light and energy around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say, I think people can go to breathwork without being in therapy with someone here at Trilogy. There might be people in breathwork who decide they want to go to therapy because of things that have come up and they want to explore more, or people who are in therapy who want to expand in this way or who are feeling really stuck. Breathwork is a really nice thing that we can refer people to try to, get them unstuck. We'll just say it that way. Yeah.
Is such a beautiful thing of act of self-care and of self-love too. So if you're in therapy or not, like most often people are doing a lot of exploration and examination, and that's not always easy work. So sometimes it just feels good to come to breathwork and breathe and just feel incredible afterwards, and just know that you've done something really beautiful for yourself and really nourished yourself. And then whether you go back to therapy or whether or not you're in therapy, like it's just a beautiful thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing that just made me remember is when we do a lot of mind body kind of connected therapy, one of the things that people really appreciate is that there are traumas, there are memories that sometimes either they're pre-verbal, like when we were really young and we don't have a conscious memory, or we don't have the words to verbalize what happened. Mm-hmm. Or it's something that felt so difficult, just saying it out loud feels like sometimes there's shame, or it's just like you just don't even want to repeat it. And mm-hmm. So we do a lot of body-focused therapy where people don't need to necessarily talk to the therapist about the details. They certainly can if they want to, but it's relieving for people. And breath work, I think, is really powerful in that way, and that you're in this individual experience, like, it's obviously being guided by you, but you're in this individual experience, and you may be having memories or things happen, and you don't have to say a word to anybody. It's very private, very personal.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself can be really healing and a way to let go of some of these things that are stuck inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty, like, you know, hopefully soon we'll be able to come and gather at Nurture and do these in-person group events, how I traditionally have done in the past. And the energy of the group is powerful and can combine and kind of lift everybody more deeply into the experience. However, like you said, it's incredibly individual, it's incredibly unique. And even with people being around you, like, you're very much going within and having your own experience. And then now in the current situation, we're doing these groups virtually. And I've seen the power of that because we're still coming together as a community, but everybody is on mute. And so there's still everyone, it feels really uninhibited to express whatever they need to express and move through whatever they need to move through. Knowing that we're gathering in a community, know that there's a space and a container created, but they're having their ultra individual and unique experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad you brought up the virtual part, because Claudia and I have been getting ready for her to come to Nurture, our new second location, where we were going to have a room to do groups. And we plan to do these in person, but now that we're all kind of stuck at home, Claudia has been very successfully doing these virtually, and it does offer that benefit of having the ability to do it in the privacy of your own home. And so for now, until we can get into a location, we are going to be offering these classes on, well, at this point, we're looking at Thursday evenings, and you can check the Trilogy website at trilogytherapydenver.com, or you can go to the Nurture website, which is visitnurture.com/schedule. And we'll be having regular breathwork classes along the way. So would hope that people can come and try it, see if you like it. And Claudia also does private sessions. Yes. If you don't feel comfortable doing it as a group, you could definitely talk to her about getting one of those scheduled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claudia, is there anything else you want to add about any of these sessions that we didn't talk about?
I mean, you and I have talked about this before, but I just love to mention that phrase or quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he says that a memory without the emotional charge becomes wisdom. And that's like really sums up what we're doing in breathwork. Like, we're taking all of this entire human experience that we each have and looking at the past and removing any emotional charge that's not serving us to carry around, so that we can then reflect back on our lives and just be wiser for it.
Yes, I love that. I love the crossover between breathwork and therapy, especially trauma therapy, because we look at it in the exact same way. Such a great way to move out trauma that we hold in our nervous system and our bodies.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Claudia. If anybody is interested, please sign up. You can contact us here at the website or at the Visit Nurture website. And we hope to see you there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.